You're watching Dramas, Dreams, and Drollery. I am Mark, the author of all works presented on this channel. Be aware that I retain copyright to all of them. Today's story is a bit unusual. All of my stories up to now have been told by an observer, an outsider. But this consists of a series of diary entries. You should know that the keeper of the diary, the writer of the diary, is a person who's rather slow mentally. And since you're not seeing the writing, you don't see the misspelled words. If I mispronounce words, it's because the writer is an atrocious speller. Okay, the title of the story is Conversations with a Sunflower. Here it is. Friday, April 18th, 1980. Dear Derry, I have something awful to confess. For 2 weeks, I've been having conversations with a sunflower, and I've been telling it all the secrets that I tell you. Please don't be mad or jealous. You're still my best friend. But I like talking to the sunflower. It understands me, and it gives me good advice. I didn't try to find a new buddy. It just happened by accident. Let me start at the beginning. On April 4, that was my birthday, I was riding my bike back home after work. Thinking about the cake Mother was going to buy me, I was pedaling faster than usual. All of a sudden, a policeman made me stop. He was putting barricades across Edison Avenue. A train had hit a truck. An ambulance drove off just as I arrived. People said that the truck driver had tried to go around the barrier while the lights were flashing. The policeman told us that no one could cross the tracks because some people from the station were coming to investigate. I really didn't know what to do. Mother has always told me to come straight home along Edison Avenue. After seeing the truck, I know why she said to be careful crossing the tracks, but I didn't know another way to go home. Anyway, I got lost. I rode everywhere, but I couldn't find the way home. After half an hour, I was all alone in the country. Feeling tired, I stopped to rest. Not far from the road was a little hill with an oak tree on top. I wondered what was on the other side of the hill, so I climbed up there. What a beautiful sight! A long slope with grass, wildflowers, and a few trees. In the distance were more hills, but no sign of people. I was walking down the far side of the hill when I saw the sunflower. So straight, so tall, so beautiful, and all alone. Usually flowers grow in bunches, but this one was by itself. I knew at once that it was special, so I sat down to admire it. Sitting there in the warm sun, I could hear water trickling in a stream. I suppose the water is what made the sunflower grow so tall. Everything was so peaceful and quiet. I began to imagine that the flower was a soldier guarding a kingdom. But almost immediately, I knew that idea was wrong. Soldiers are stiff and serious. Flowers are lovely and graceful. The plant I admired had to be female. Saying it was a girl made me laugh. I decided right then to name the sunflower Clara. Let me explain why. Mother and me never go to the movies, and we almost never watch television. only the gardening show on Tuesdays and Reverend Armstrong's program on Sundays. Mother says most movies and television shows are evil. Sometimes, though, if I'm real good, she lets me watch a Ronald Reagan film. Mama thinks Mr. Reagan's going to get elected president and end all the wickedness in our country. When she was a girl, Mother and her whole family went to see a movie once. The star was Clara Bow. People called her the It Girl. My grandfather made the family leave the theater because the show was sinful. Mama never watched another movie until Ronald Reagan. Truthfully, I never saw Clara Bow, but Mama said she was beautiful and bold. To me, that's the perfect description of the flower, so I call it Clara. Did I ever get it when I arrived home? Mama yelled at me and called me a bad boy. I explained about the accident and how I got lost, but she wouldn't listen. For punishment, she gave me a smaller piece of birthday cake than usual, and she put only 7 candles instead of 47. Just before tucking me into bed, and after saying the prayer, she gave me that awful warning again. Georgie, she said, if you continue being wicked, I'm going to take you down to Marinello's barber shop and tell them to shave off all your hair. Now, Derry, I'm going to tell you a really big secret, one that no one else knows, not even Clara. Every week, Mother gives me allowance of $3. Since she's been threatening to make me bald, I've been putting $1 a week into a jar under my bed. When she shaves my head, I'm going to buy me a wig. I won't wear it here in the house, of course, but I'll wear it to work. That way people won't laugh at me. Don't tell anyone. I guess that's all for today. Friday, May 2nd, 1980. Dear Derry, sorry I haven't kept up with you in a while. Want to know what's been happening at my work? You remember that I'm at the RGM factory. That's the biggest employer in town. Joe says that 1,400 people work there. My place is in the quality control department. For the last 7 years, they have me doing the same thing. Whenever I hear a whooshing sound in a chute, I look in a bin and take out all the L19s that have red marks on them. Then I put them in another bin. Until about a week ago, I had to move maybe 100 L19s an hour. Suddenly, everything has changed. I get only about 2 all day long. Wayne says it's because they streamlined the operation, whatever that means. He says I'm lucky not to work so hard, and the bosses don't know it yet. Wayne also says that when they find out, they will give me a new job or they'll fire me. That's kind of scary. Anyway, I like the way it used to be. Before, when I found an L19 with green marks, they let me take it upstairs where Karen works. I like Karen. She's so pretty and nice. But Rod and Jose, who work in that department, always laugh at me. I don't know why. Last time I wrote to you, I told you about Clara, but I really didn't say much. I'll tell you more now. A week after I met her for the first time, I went back to that hill. I didn't have to go that way, you understand. There were no more barriers on Edison Avenue. I just liked the hill and the flower. On that day, it had rained, and I was working. While I was working, when I sat on the grass beside Clara, my clothes got all wet. Clara seemed sad. She drooped a little. I couldn't tell if the water on her came from the rain or from tears. I tried to listen to her troubles, but she didn't say much. Probably she's just lonely. When I got home, I got into trouble again. Mama saw my wet pants and shouted at me, "Georgie Wilberforce, how many times have I told you to go to the bathroom when you feel like you have to go?" I wanted to explain that my pants got wet 'cause I've been lying on wet grass, but I didn't. Otherwise, I'd have had to explain where I'd been, and I didn't want to say nothing about Clara. Mother wouldn't understand. She made me take a bath that instant. Afterward, she sent me to bed with no dinner. I decided to be more careful in the future. On the first floor of RGM, they use a lot of clear plastic sheets. I put one of them in the basket of my bike. The next time I visited Clara, I placed it on the grass so my pants wouldn't get wet. Pretty smart, huh? I did something else too. For a long time, Mother has had a farmed picture of me sitting on a table in the hall. To me, that always seems silly. The hall doesn't look at photos. So I took the picture along with the plastic sheet and put it right on the ground beside Clara so she could always see it. That way, maybe she won't feel so lonely. I think Clara appreciated what I did because she did a favor for me soon after. I was telling her all about myself when an idea popped into my head. It was a really wild idea, the kind that Mama said was wicked. I thought that someday, on my way home from work, I could stop at Watanabe's and buy an ice cream cone. I asked Clara what she thought. I really didn't expect an answer, but you know what? All at once, Clara leaned her head toward me. Some people would say it was just the wind, but I knew she was saying, "Go for it." The very next day, I went to that ice cream shop and bought a double scooper, Pistachio and Rocky Road. If Mama had found out, I'd have a bald head right now for sure. You know what? Going to Watanabe's was fun. I'm going to go there again sometime. Wednesday, May 21st, 1980. Dear Derry, you remember that I like cats, don't you? Well, Ferdy at work owns a cat, and it just had kittens. He told me I could have one. I got real happy. But then Mother said no. According to Mama, cats scratch the furniture and do all sorts of bad things around the house. I felt real sad, so I decided to talk to Clara. When I explained the problem, she understood. Right then I got another of those wild ideas. It must have come from Clara. This one said I could have lots of fun as a cat. I rode my bike fast to McManus Park. At the entrance, a sign said, "No dogs allowed." I was happy about that, because I didn't want no dogs chasing me. After parking my bike, I got down on my knees on the grass and sniffed the flowers. They smelled good. Some people started watching me. They pointed and laughed. A boy 6 or 7 years old kneeled down and sniffed too. The people laughed even more. We were having lots of fun. When I realized how much they enjoyed what I was doing, I rolled over on my back and put my paws in the air. They shouted and laughed real hard. Next, I climbed a tree, sat on a limb, and started to meow. By now, the people were screaming with joy. A really big crowd got round me. People were saying, "Here, kitty, kitty." I heard one lady say to her husband, "Can't we take him home?" Someone else asked, "Does he have a license?" Pretty soon it started to get dark, and the people moved away. I knew I had to get home fast. Mother was going to get mad. I got on my bike and raced home. Guess who was waiting for me at the front door? When Mama saw the grass stains all over my pants, she asked me how I got them. Lying is sinful, but I told a lie because I didn't know what else to do. I said I put them on me because it was St. Patrick's Day. When I saw her going to fetch the broom, I ran into the bathroom, locked the door, and started taking a bath real quick. Mother yelled at me through the door that she's going to take a quarter away from this week's allowance. Monday, May 26, 1980. Dear Derry, there's one really big secret I haven't told you. Sometimes I get terribly afraid. I don't mean just a little afraid. I suppose everyone gets scared once in a while, like I do when Mother puts me to bed. At prayer time, Mama always says, "Dear God, please take good care of Papa in heaven." Then she tells me to look at him. See, there's a big picture of my Papa on the wall by the foot of the bed. Before she turns out the light, I see him looking at me with that mean look on his face. To me, he's saying, "It's all your fault." After Mama leaves the room, I always hide under the covers so he can't see me. Well, that isn't the kind of fear I was talking about. Sometimes I'm terrified. Like last Friday, it was payday. I got home from work and gave Mother my check after signing it on the back as I'm supposed to do. She was giving me my allowance when a hard rain started. It poured all through dinner. By bedtime, it was coming down so hard, I thought a river of rain was going to carry our house away. Even Mother was worried. Trembling all over, I scarcely slept that night. Next morning was Saturday. I was so tired, I could barely do my chores. Mother was complaining, but when I found her missing bracelet behind the sofa, she smiled and put a gold star by my name on the kitchen chart. That's the first gold star since Christmas. In the afternoon, we went to the library as usual. Mother says it's educational for me. She wants me to improve my vocabulary. That means I should learn to use big words like college professors. We checked out 2 books. From one of them, Grandma made me a list of words. She says I can use them at work. I told her it was sort of hard to do, but she wouldn't listen. From now on, I don't get dessert any day I fail to learn a new word. After church on Sunday, they had a big potluck dinner. There was a lot of food. I wanted to try everything, but Mama said eating everything makes you a glutton, and that's wicked. She told me to put glutton on my list of words. Standing in line, my mouth watered when I saw the cherry pie. Before I could take any, my mother put a small piece on my plate and a small piece on hers. After dinner, I was talking to my friend Randy, and I saw Mama eating a big piece of pie. I thought she had forgot that it's wicked to be a glutton, so I rushed over to remind her. She explained that she was eating the pie only because it was good for her sciatica. Today, I got to see Clara again. She looked beautiful, but my picture didn't look so good. I guess that rain knocked it down. I wiped it off on my shirt and put it back in a good spot for Clara to see. And then I told Clara how the storm had terrified me. I asked her what I should do in a situation like that. I listened and listened, but I didn't hear an answer. Then slowly the idea came into my head. I knew Clara wouldn't let me down. She said that next time I was really scared, I should close my eyes and pretend that I was sitting on the hill beside her. You know, I think that might work. Clara wouldn't let anything bad happen to me. Gotta go now. Tuesday, June 10th, 1980. Dear Derry, it's June. Mother wants me to take my 2 weeks vacation on the 27th. She pinned a note on me this morning so I wouldn't forget to tell my boss, Mr. Bradley. Mother says we're going to visit her sister. I like to go to Aunt Audrey's because she makes good pancakes. Last week, I showed Mother a hole in my shoes. She gave me some money and told me to stop at the Right Fit shoe store on the way home from work. She said I should buy a nice pair of brown dress shoes that I could wear to church. At work, I told Joe about it, but he said I should buy some tennis shoes, the kind Kareem wears. I didn't know who Kareem was, so I went to see Clara first. Clara said to buy the tennis shoes, so that's what I did. The tennis shoes felt different, real light. I liked them. They felt so good that when I got outside the store on the sidewalk, I started dancing. And then I started singing too. A lot of people looked at me and laughed. I think they were jealous of my new shoes. Of course, Mother was mad. She told me to take the shoes back to the store. She got even madder when I explained that I threw away the receipt. Now she's going to take another quarter from my allowance. Friday, June 13th, 1980. Dear Derry, did you know that Friday the 13th is bad luck? Awful things can happen to you on that day. I learned that at work. Sally told me to watch out all day long. For some reason, she smiled when she said it. I tried real hard to be careful. I ran when I saw Felipe coming toward me with some scissors in his hand. I even ran through the exit after work so the door wouldn't close on me. By the time I got to Clara, I felt very tired from all the worry. Clara said I should have closed my eyes and pretended that I was with her. She was right, of course. Saturday, June 21st, 1980. Dear Derry, on Wednesday, I went to see Clara and I got home kind of late. Mama was mad as usual. She said, "Are you chasing after girls? You keep coming home late." I said no, because I didn't want to tell her about Clara. Now after last night, she's never going to believe me. I fell asleep up on the hill talking to Clara. When I woke up, it was very dark. I was real scared. Not about the darkness, but about Mother. She was going to kill me. I pedaled fast, but I almost got lost. Everything looked so different at night. On Edison Avenue, there was a theater-like place with neon lights flashing. It said, "Girls, girls." I stopped in front and a nice man invited me to go in. With a smile on his face, he said, "You'll find what you want in here." How did he know what I wanted? Anyway, I was curious, so I went in. The place was crowded with lots of men. Loud music was playing. I kind of wandered around. Suddenly, I saw a naked lady dancing on the stage. It was embarrassing. I guess she didn't know she had no clothes. But people were laughing and talking about her. So I ran up on the stage to tell her she forgot to put on her clothes. But before I could say anything, two big men grabbed me and took me outside. As they threw me on the sidewalk, one of them said, "These guys who drink too much." I suppose they treated me rough because they thought I was using their drinking fountain without permission. When I got home, Mama was in her nightgown and bathrobe. She started crying when she saw me. She said she almost called the police because she thought I was lost. I had to tell her something, so I told her half the truth. I said that I'd fallen asleep because I was so tired. Naturally, I didn't mention Clara or the naked lady. Wednesday, July 16, 1980. Dear Derry, we got home from our vacation trip just a few days ago. It was lots of fun. We played Monopoly almost every day. In one game, I bought Park Avenue and the Pennsylvania Railroad. Everybody had to pay me rent. Aunt Audrey let me ride her bike a few times. Once I rode past a big arena. They were having a dog show. I wanted to see it, so I put my bike down. Most people were standing in a long line to get in, but I was smart. I saw a gate with few people. A sign over the gate said, "Owner's Entrance." A man in a uniform asked if I was an owner. He let me in when I said yes. I didn't even have to tell him that I owned Park Avenue and Pennsylvania Railroad. You never saw so many cute dogs in one place. People were brushing them and combing their hair. The dogs looked real fancy. I wanted to play with them. Lucky I had a ball in my pocket. When I started rolling it on the floor, a poodle started chasing it. Soon other dogs started chasing it too, and then they began fighting over the ball. People were running and screaming all over the place. I thought I'd better get out of there. I didn't want Mother to think that I'd caused the problem. The bad thing is that I never got my ball back. At breakfast the next day, Mama and Aunt Audrey were reading the newspaper. An article told about how a saboteur had wrecked the dog show. Mama told me to put the word saboteur on my vocabulary list. On the 4th of July, there was a big parade in Aunt Audrey's town. I love parades. People wear costumes and ride horses and smile a lot. I wished I could be in the parade too. Clara keeps telling me to have lots of fun. So before the celebration started, I made myself a king's costume and a cardboard crown. Me and Mama and Aunt Audrey all had good seats right beside the road. I saw something coming with people on it. Mother must not have seen what I was pointing to, because she called it a float, and there was no river. This big thing passed right in front of us. It had a sign that said, "Queen of the Parade." A beautiful young lady in a white dress was sitting on a chair. She had a crown on her head, just like mine. Right then I knew what to do. It was as if Clara was talking in my ear. I leaped up and got on that car beside the young lady and started waving and smiling just like her. We went that way for about 2 blocks before a policeman made me get off. I don't think he understood that a king is supposed to be beside a queen. Or maybe he didn't think my costume was good enough. Mama must have agreed with him. She took me straight home and sent me to bed. I didn't even get to see the fireworks show. Tuesday, July 24th, 1980. Dear Derry, I think Mother's going to take back the rule that I got to learn a new vocabulary word every day. I can never remember those words like clatin or glutton or whatever it is that means to eat like a pig. But one word I'll never forget is serene. That means peaceful and quiet. It's easy to remember. All I have to do is think about where Clara lives. Her home is the most serene place in the whole world. One night at dinner, I was thinking about the hill. Suddenly I said out loud, it was so serene. Mother asked me to repeat what I said, and so I did. And then she asked me what I was describing. Without mentioning Clara, I said a beautiful hillside where there are no people. You should have seen Mama. She jumped up and down in her seat. Then she rushed out to the kitchen and put a gold star by my name. Now I use the word serene a lot. On Sunday, we went to the zoo. It was really fun. I enjoy seeing all the animals. I'm kind of scared of the lions and tigers. My favorite animals are the monkeys. They have so much fun climbing trees and swinging on bars. Even though they scream and make a lot of noise, nobody seems to mind. All the people love them. Talking about the monkeys reminds me of something kind of interesting that happened yesterday. Near Clara's place is a big bridge over a small river. I went there after leaving Clara. I don't usually go that way, but ever since I found Clara by mistake, I've been looking on purpose for different ways to get home. It's kind of fun. Anyway, yesterday afternoon, I got close to that bridge, and I saw a woman take off her jacket and start to climb up the metal side. I was so surprised. I didn't know that other people like to do that. I got off my bike and climbed up beside her. Seeing me, she said with an angry voice, "Get away, leave me alone." I've seen monkeys behave like that, so I knew she wanted to play monkey. I started making faces at her. She gave me a weird look, and I asked, "What are you doing?" Then she put one leg over the top rail. Oh, I thought that was very dangerous, so I pulled on her other leg and made monkey noises. 2 times she said, "Leave me alone, I want to jump." I didn't understand, because there were no bars to jump to, and if she wasn't careful, she might fall into the river. While I held her leg, I tried to tell her in monkey talk that jumping wasn't safe. She struggled for a while, and then she stopped, and then she started crying. I didn't want her to do that. I was just trying to play. Finally, she climbed down from the bridge and sat down on the road, crying some more. I got down and sat beside her. I put my arm around her to make her feel better. We sat there for a long time. It was very serene. When she stopped crying, the woman said to me, "Thank you." I don't know why she said that. When I told her I was just having fun playing monkey, she laughed. And then she told me her name was Slivia. She seemed so sad. I decided to tell her about Clara and how she always cheers me up. Slivia laughed again and said she'd like to meet a sunflower that could do that. So I took her to Clara's place. The 2 of us sat down on the hillside, and I introduced Slivia to Clara. Then I showed Slivia the picture of me that I'd put there to keep Clara from getting lonely. She said that was very thoughtful of me. When I asked Slivia if she was lonely, she almost cried again. After a while, she said a little. I asked her if she'd like to have a picture of me so she wouldn't feel lonely. She gave a big smile and hugged me. I promised to bring another picture if she would come back next Tuesday. She said yes. We stayed there maybe another hour talking about Clara. Slivia agreed that Clara was beautiful. I told her how smart Clara was too. By the time we said goodbye, Slivia was smiling and laughing. She said, instead of meeting just next Tuesday, we should form a sunflower club. and meet at Clara's every Tuesday. I looked at Clara and she smiled. End of story. Although George may not have it all together, he is a likable human being. I can't know your reaction to my stories, but for me, this is one of my favorite works. Next time we'll do something different. I'll offer you 2 short plays. Until then, thanks for watching Dramas, Dreams, and Drollery.